Hello viewers, you are welcome to another episode on Sort Out TV.
Heraclitus of Ephesus. Heraclitus was an Ionian Greek who was born into a noble family in Ephesus. His exact dates are unclear, but he is said to have lived from 540 BC to 480 BC. He lived his entire life in Ephesus and was said to be in his prime around 500 BC. Heraclitus did not seem to be a very pleasant person, for he had a proud, arrogant, and contemptuous mind, which he employed to produce critical and dogmatic sayings. Although his attitude was very aristocratic, his harsh disposition guaranteed that he would attract no disciples in his lifetime. He thought most people were no better than cattle. Nevertheless, even if he lived a lonely and withdrawn life, his writings and sayings seem to have provoked a good deal of discussion among later generations. He has the reputation of being one of the most difficult philosophers to interpret. There is every reason to believe he wanted it that way. He derives pleasure in throwing out paradoxes and aphorisms rather than developing a patient, continuous line of argument. For this reason, the ancients called him the Dark One, the Riddler, the Obscure. Although his style does not conform to the philosophical idea of clarity. According to Heraclitus, wisdom is the goal of philosophy. However, we cannot obtain wisdom by acquiring factual information, but by seeing the hidden meaning behind the appearances. According to Heraclitus, the world comes to us in the form of a riddle. Reality loves to conceal itself. The secret to reality is found by understanding the logos. This very important Greek word is so rich in meaning that it is difficult to translate. Briefly, the Greek word logos means statement or discourse, but it also refers to reason or the rational content of what is spoken. However, logos is not limited to what goes on in our minds, it also suggests the rational order or structure of the world itself. According to Heraclitus, change is ultimate, and most of our experiences of stability and permanence are merely how things appear to be. Heraclitus used the metaphor of a river to make his point. Although scholars are divided on what his exact words were, he said something to the effect that, you cannot step into the same river twice, because fresh waters are ever flowing. This suggests that we are like that river, constantly changing and never staying the same. For example, when I look at my high school picture taken in the 1990s, I recognize that person as being me. Yet in another sense, I am not the same person as a result of the physical difference. Along with his emphasis on change, Heraclitus puts forth the thesis of the unity of opposites. For him, the conflict between opposites is necessary. In this sense, night and day are one, hot and cold are relative qualities that coexist on the same continuum. Heraclitus taught not only that there is a unity of opposites, but also that the conflict between opposites is good. However, the illusion of stability results from the balanced opposition of forces. The Milesians debated whether the world is fundamentally water or air. Heraclitus says it is an everlasting fire. It is not clear whether he meant this literally as an alternative to the answers of previous philosophers, or whether he meant it in a more figurative sense. Either way, the image of a fire does capture a large portion of Heraclitus's vision of the world. A fire is a process rather than a substantial object. It is constantly changing yet remains the same. Finally, fire transforms everything it touches. Substances are fed into the fire and are changed into something else. Despite the obscurity of some of his broad, sweeping generalizations, Heraclitus made several contributions. Like Pythagoras, he sought for the unity of reality not in a material substance but in a formal pattern. He was one of the most comprehensive philosophers, because he addressed the issues of epistemology, metaphysics, ethics, politics, and theology.
Please click the subscribe button for more.